right, so today we're gonna make our easy, delicious, healthy, gluten-free banana oat peanut butter muffin recipe. It's a mouthful, but it's actually a pretty simple recipe. And I'm gonna go over the ingredients you're gonna need before we get started. So the first thing we're gonna need is some coconut oil or butter to grease our muffin pan. I found that if I use the spray oil, like coconut oil, avocado oil spray, it doesn't work as good as keeping it non-stick, so I just grease it by hand. We need some vanilla extract, baking soda, a dash of cinnamon, some peanut butter or other nut butter of your choice, whether that's sunflower butter, almond butter, should all work just fine. Then we're gonna need some regular rolled oats, milk. I like to use whole milk, but you could also substitute in like almond milk or other alternative milks if you have an allergy to dairy or you just want to avoid it. Some agave for sweetener. You could also use maple syrup, honey, any sweetener of your choice. One super ripe banana. It's gonna give it really good flavor. You don't want to use one of the green or unripe bananas because it won't taste very good. And then we've got our eggs. You're gonna need 2 eggs. And then for toppings, you can put in whatever you prefer. We usually do a combination of chocolate chip and walnut. That's what our family likes best. I usually use regular chocolate chips, but today I only have the mini, so you can switch it up and do something fun like that too. Or you could even put in like dried fruit if you like that. And of course, for us, we do the walnuts. So I've got walnuts here. So our first step after we get all our ingredients gathered, we're gonna preheat our oven to 350 Fahrenheit. While that is preheating, we're gonna get our ingredients measured out into the blender. This recipe I really like because it's super simple. You put everything in the blender and you blend it up, so that's the only dirty dish you have aside from the muffin pan, which is really good. Before we get started on putting everything in the blender and blending it up, I'm gonna go ahead and grease the muffin tin so that it's ready to go. So I'm just gonna get a little coconut oil and put a little in. Doesn't have to be super perfect because I'm just gonna spread it with my fingers. So that's enough. And I just use all this to, I probably got a little too much, but I'd rather have too much than not enough, and I can always wipe out the excess. Yeah, I found that even if a pan is non-stick, if I don't grease it, they stick really bad. And we've tried this recipe using just like muffin liners too, and those, it sticks to that as well. So you definitely want to grease your pan really well. All right, so now that our muffin pan is greased, we've got our blender. That's key to this recipe. It doesn't have to be a Vitamix, but whatever blender you have should work. First, I'm gonna add in the eggs. You need 2 eggs. All right, next we're gonna do our milk. You need a 1/4 cup of milk for this recipe. I like to put in the more wet ingredients before I put in the oats, just so they don't get compacted into the bottom. Keeps it nice and smooth to blend it. Okay, I'm gonna do my splash of vanilla. You can measure out a teaspoon or you can just do what I do and eyeball it. Doesn't need to be perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and put in the banana. This one's very ripe. That's what we want. Okay. Our agave or sweetener of choice, we're gonna need a 1/3 cup of that. One reason I like using agave in recipes like this is because it's cheaper than honey, and also it's not as thick, so you can get it out of the measuring cup a lot easier. Next, we're gonna add our oats. We use the traditional rolled oats. I haven't ever tried this recipe with quick oats. I don't know how it would turn out. I feel like it would be pretty similar, but I don't know, I'm not sure. We need 3/4 cup of oats. And if it's a little more, that's okay. I like that this recipe is so simple and also pretty forgiving. So if you're not super exact with your measurements, it should be okay still. And then we need a teaspoon of baking soda. I like to add a little dash of cinnamon just for some extra body. And then 2 tablespoons of peanut butter or nut butter of your choice. I usually don't measure this. I usually just eyeball it, but since we're making an official video today, we'll measure it. Now we're gonna blend this up. Everything but your toppings. Don't add your chocolate chips or walnuts unless you want them pulverized. All right, here we go. Okay, once your muffin batter is really thoroughly mixed up, usually just about a minute or so in the Vitamix, that's all it takes. Then you can just easily pour it out of your blender, as long as you have a spout, into your muffin pan. So let's do that. All right, so we're ready to pour our batter into the muffin tin. One thing I do want to say is you don't want to fill it all the way to the top or else they'll be like overflowing. You want to fill it like 2/3, 3/4 of the way. Just evenly distribute it as much as you can between your cups. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just do your best to get them fairly even, that way they cook evenly. If you notice one is like way more full than the rest, or some of them are a little shorted, I just like to take a spoon and transfer some of the batter to make them a little more even. Okay, that's pretty good. And then we're gonna add our chocolate chips. These are the Enjoy Life mini semi-sweet dairy-free chocolate chips. And then I just sprinkle a few into each. And then our walnut pieces. We like a little crunch in ours. And you could even mix it up and do some just chocolate chip or some just walnut or dried fruit, whatever you want to do. One of the reasons we really like doing this recipe for breakfast is because once you've made a batch, they're really easy to let them cool off, stick them in the fridge in a baggie or container, and then have them as a snack or breakfast the next day. You can even freeze them, and then we're just gonna stick them in the oven at 350 Fahrenheit. I'm gonna set a timer. I usually like to do about 10 to 11 minutes and then rotate it and do the other 10 to 11 minutes. At 350 Fahrenheit, they need about 20 to 22 minutes in our oven. Every oven is different, so you just want to keep an eye on them. Check them. Once they're rose up and look golden, no jiggle, they should be good to go. You can always stick a toothpick in the middle and make sure. So yeah, we're gonna let them cook and then we'll come back and check them and rotate them halfway. All right, so our timer is about to go off, our 10-minute timer. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. Then we're gonna rotate our pan. If your oven bakes really evenly, you don't have to do this stuff, but I just noticed one side of our oven tends to be hotter than the other, so we flip things and we cook and bake. So yeah, I'm gonna set the timer again for another 10 minutes. And they should be ready and we'll take them out of the oven. You can see the final product. Stay tuned. All right, so our timer just went off. Our muffins should be done. I'm gonna check them. They look good. So we're gonna pull them out. See how nice and golden they are. Turn the oven off. They smell good. You can let them cool in the pan if you want, or you can go ahead and take them out carefully so you don't burn yourself and let them cool on a wire rack. So I'm gonna do that now. I like to take them out right away, just personal preference. I use a butter knife to gently loosen them. And like I said, when you grease the pan with coconut oil or butter, they come right out. But if you don't do that step, it's kind of a nightmare to try and get them out in one piece. So hopefully you remembered to do that step. All right, so they're all on our wire rack. We're gonna let them cool. We prefer to eat them not super hot and let them cool off a little first. That's why I like to make them ahead instead of the morning of. And we'll be back when we try them. Also, just a note, here's a perfect example of why it's important to grease the muffin tin. This is one that I guess I apparently didn't put enough coconut oil in, and you can see how bad it stuck to the pan there, so it works. Okay, so our muffins are done, they're cooled off. We're gonna try them. I'm gonna pick one for Steven to try. Look at this. It's so, I love it because you can't tell they're gluten-free. The texture is so nice. All right, so I'm gonna break it apart. Let's show you the fluffy inside texture. Smells good. And I'm gonna hand it to Steven and see what he thinks of them. All right, babe, are you gonna try them?
Yes.
Tell us if you like them or not.
We have these quite often for breakfast. I absolutely love them, but let's give these a go in the afternoon.
You're dropping
crumbs. Oh man, love it.
They're crummy.
Guys, it's like you would never guess these were gluten-free. It's just a very soft, moist, delicious muffin.
Somehow the combination of the oats with the peanut butter, they bake really...
If you like peanut butter, you'll really like these. Of course, like Lindsay said, you can also add other nut butters if you want. We just are, we love peanut butter here. You can taste the banana just a little bit, but surprisingly, you really don't taste the banana. It's not overpowering. It's mostly there for some added sweetness and softness and creaminess, I guess, right? But overall, guys, these are incredible. Highly recommend them.
Yes. If you try them, be sure and leave us a comment and let us know how you liked them. Hopefully you find them as enjoyable and easy and delicious as we do.
Thumbs up, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions in the comments section. I guess this is it for us now.
Yeah.
You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Bye.